How's it going, friends? Welcome to Stillwater. We're in the historic downtown of one of the most beloved neighborhoods in all of the Twin Cities. Let me show you around a little bit. Stillwater is probably technically considered a suburb these days, but it's also just kind of far enough and kind of has a soul of its own that it feels a little bit more like a small town just outside the metro. But where we stand right now, which is just to the east of downtown Stillwater and literally right on the shore of the St. Croix River, a beautiful river valley, very beloved for boating and the likes. This is a very historic lift bridge. It used to be the only bridge crossing the St. Croix here, but now there's a much larger bridge behind you. Trust me, it's a lot bigger and a lot more drivable. And so geographically, Stillwater sits to the northeast of the cities, and just to the north of Stillwater is more or less Stillwater Township, right? Just to the east is this river, and right across from that river is Wisconsin. To the south, you have Bayport, which is very small, but still pretty cute little town on the river. And to the west, you have kind of a combination of Grant, which is very much a rural area. It's really Grant Township. And then there's Lake Elmo, which we've talked about on this channel. We have virtual tours on this channel. It is technically a suburb, but there's kind of a more rural, natural feeling to Lake Elmo. The schools in Stillwater rank really, really well. You have Stillwater Area Public Schools, Independent School District 834. That gets an A- on each for the school district as a whole. You have Brookfield Elementary, K through 5, that gets an A-. Stillwater Middle School, 6 through 8, that gets an A-. And Stillwater Area High School, that's 9 through 12, also gets an A-. The school and the district are not huge, but the school itself has about 2,700 students. By the way, I do want to acknowledge that this wind might not be the best for the video, although it does feel great. I love the sound of the waves. I love the sound of the river and all that. So I'm here. I'm doing it. What are you going to do? The median sale price for houses is $565,000, which has increased by 20% year over year. Median days on market is right around 13 days. So the market in general for the last 5 or so years, stuff moves quickly here, especially the really nice stuff. That's true across most of the metro, but there's a level of homes that are being particularly sought after. A really clean, really buttoned up, older home in Stillwater, especially within walking distance to this downtown, it will fly. It will go fast, and it will go for overlist. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's not that many homes in this downtown area. There are, but only like 10 or so might sell in any given month. But really, the number one thing, that the most just like sought after aspect of this whole town is this downtown in relationship to the river. I just had like a maybe 25-minute long conversation with some folks who've like lived in Minnesota most of their life. They actually live in Grove, and they just drove here just to come visit. And there's a touristy aspect to Stillwater, and the downtown is busy. It's a summer day, of course, so school's out. It's a Tuesday though, and the downtown area is proper busy. And right now, maybe you can hear it, this lift bridge is actually about to go up. I think it goes up every, 20 or so minutes. Don't quote me on that, but it periodically goes up. And in the interim, boats that are waiting here that are taller than, the area under the bridge, which is not very high right now. So the water is actually pretty high. Those boats just have to wait, and then they could go under once the bridge opens up. As a kid, this is the kind of thing that I love doing. I love like being on the water, watching boats. I don't know, is that a Minnesotan thing? I'm not sure. But here, Duluth, those were some of my favorite things to do, and some of my best memories were doing this kind of thing, watching a bridge like that operate. I don't know, just a special thing. And real quick, just a quick little interruption. My name is Jesse Lynch. I run the hardest working real estate team in the game. We're called To the Twin Cities. And you can check out our website, tothetwincities.com. But this YouTube channel is all about helping you find a place to call home here in the Twin Cities. And relocation is what we do, and it's what we do better than anybody else. We actually have a podcast where we talk to people who we've helped move here. It's called Welcome to the Twin Cities. It's on YouTube. Check that out if you haven't yet. And if you're moving here, we would absolutely love to be able to help you make the move. You can go to our website, tothetwincities.com. We have a contact form there that you can fill out in like 30 seconds, more or less. And if you're moving here, we would absolutely love to help you make the move. It's what we do. And we do it all the time. We know it's a stressful process, but let us take some of that stress out for you. So one more time, tothetwincities.com, head to the contact form, fill it out, and we'll get back in touch with you and get the show on the road. It's the easiest way to do it. And yeah, we'll make it happen. Cool. Back to the video. All right, right now I'm technically in Stillwater Township, and I'm in the Arcola Bluffs day use area, which is really just a very beautiful, natural, forested area, kind of along the river bluffs of the St. Croix. But I want to talk through pros and cons of Stillwater as I see them. So pros, I'm sure I've mentioned a lot of these pros casually during this video, but I'm condensing all of this stuff to make it a bit more digestible. Pro number one is that downtown riverfront area. That is just such a special area. It's special, you know, in Minnesota for sure, one of the most charming spots, but even I think on a national level, that's the kind of thing that, like, the kind of charm that people are looking for all over the place, with the pace that people is very sought after. The architecture is beautiful, and it's ultimately just Americana as it gets. Another pro is that there's actually really great options for restaurants, breweries, even distillery. There are legit coffee shops, not just a Starbucks or a Caribou Coffee or something like that. Independent coffee shops with actually very good coffee. There are really good antique stores. Sometimes I say that on this channel and I'm like, maybe I just like antique stores more than the average person, but they're very good antique stores here. There's really great retail, for kind of spending the day shopping, if that's your thing. There is a food co-op, which I actually think is a huge asset to the downtown area, to be able to just, run to the co-op, grab groceries for the day or the week or something like that. Just, I don't know, super, super nice and kind of unexpected in a town like this. And then there's also like really cool historic hotels that would be really nice if you had guests coming in. First of all, if you have guests coming in and you get to say, yeah, we live in Stillwater, it's pretty sweet for them to be able to like spend, a week here or something like that. It's a really, really great atmosphere. And the hotels are kind of a cool addition to that. Another pro for me is just how much there is to do outdoors here. Obviously, there's places like this. There's really great regional parks nearby, really great more city parks. There's actually one really cool one that's a bit more like playgroundy, a little bit more like kid-friendly, that is kind of up on a hill. It's really beautiful, right by downtown. It just feels weird to be filming at places like that. So I tend not to be, doing this kind of thing in places like that. But you've got great access to the river, whether you're just taking a stroll. There's some very sought after, beautiful marinas in Stillwater or very near Stillwater. And the St. Croix is just super great. It eventually connects with the Mississippi River. So there's just something really special about sort of the visual nature of the St. Croix River. And you can go, all the way up to Taylor's Falls. Super pretty area up there as well. But yeah, that access to the river is super cool. Marinas and generally doing outdoor things, there's golf courses, there are tons of parks, there are trails like this. There's really great topography for cyclists and things like that. Some of these Stillwater Township roads or the highways are just so used by more long distance cyclists because they're basically perfect for that type of thing. Enough topographical change, elevation change, and it's also just really, really beautiful to look at. You have really strong schools. Another pro, undeniable pro. A- basically across the board in Stillwater, so you can't really go too wrong with that, while still not being, the top 5. So I do think that helps keep prices down a little bit. If Stillwater had like the #1 public school district, I think it would be like out of control. I think it would be so hard to get in. Prices would have gone up so quickly because it is so lovely otherwise. Another pro for me, I love a nice scenic drive or motorcycle ride, and I think there's basically no better place. For one, kind of no better destination, but it really gets good once you're here, right? And once you're along the St. Croix, in my opinion, is where it gets particularly beautiful. So you can start here, go to Hastings, or head north, and it's just so much beautiful driving, easy roads. Yeah, really, really nice. There's also really good access to Wisconsin. If you have any business in Wisconsin, maybe in Minnesota, things would be like fireworks or cheese in particular, because it's literally right across that river that you saw in the downtown area. But maybe there's family, maybe there's some work or something like that over on that west side of Wisconsin. And yeah, again, really good access. And then there's also a pretty good variety of housing stock in Stillwater. You've got the beautiful, very, very special historic district, right? Outside of downtown or right next to downtown. Tons of cool old homes there. Then you have kind of a more middle of the road suburban style house. As you get a bit further east in Stillwater, it becomes just a bit more suburban. There's like a Target over there. It's just kind of a bit less exciting, but a bit more affordable and less cutthroat when it comes to actually finding a house there. So if you just want easy access to downtown Stillwater and don't need it to be walkable, it can be a bit easier to achieve that on the western side of Stillwater. And if your budget allows for kind of the more aspirational home, the more epic home, then Stillwater Township has some of the coolest lots, some absolutely beautiful opportunity for newer homes. And then, of course, there's the historic mansion style homes in downtown Stillwater. There's just not that many of them, which is the first con. It's hard to get into Stillwater. There's not that many houses that sell in Stillwater in any given month. And the really good ones, they go fast and the terms get very aggressive. So you have to be prepared for that. Stillwater can behave a bit different than a lot of the rest of the market because of how hard to find some of these houses can be. I think another con, it's not even really a con, it's just like something to know. Not all of Stillwater is super charming, right? We've been in the downtown area, we've been in Stillwater Township. Very cool, very charming in their own regard. Some of it is just kind of classic suburbia, and it's not that interesting. But again, hard to be like, that's a con. It's just not as big of a pro as some of the other things. Another con is you have very limited public transportation in Stillwater. Again, it's pretty removed from the city. You also have a pretty far drive to the airport. So if you're somebody who is, commuting through the air often, that could be a bit of an annoying drive. An Uber, I don't even know how much that would cost. It would get pretty expensive. Maybe $100 for an Uber. So you might have to be doing some parking and things like that at the airport or always getting a ride. But either way, a little bit of an annoying drive. And then that's basically the last con, is you're just somewhat removed from the cities. The access to St. Paul is not crazy. It's not the worst drive, but the access to downtown Minneapolis, it's a pretty good clip. 30 to 40 minutes, pretty reliably. Our office is in downtown Minneapolis, more or less, and it's right around that 40-minute drive most of the time. And I think the biggest thing for people who are coming from places where traffic is a lot worse, it's not just a 40-minute drive, it's a 30-mile drive. So it's not that you're sitting in traffic, barely moving the whole time. You're actually moving probably at a pretty good clip most of the time you're putting a lot of miles on a vehicle, and so that's just a thing to worry about, a thing to be aware of. The amount of miles we put on our cars is, ungodly. So we can't really calculate that too much. You can't really worry about it doing real estate because you're literally driving all over the place. By the way, that's it for this, but this looks like Endor, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. Where the Ewoks lived? Okay, that's good for the end. We're up on the hill. I'm actually going to go into Pioneer Park here, but kind of wanted to show you the sort of hilly nature of, Stillwater. It's on the bluff, some very steep hills, but I think that makes it actually particularly interesting, topographically. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that we have a section that we like to call the For Fans of section, which is to say that if you like what you see in Stillwater, but maybe just want more options, which so many of the people that we're helping do, right? You watch one video, you go, well, that's pretty cool. Are there any other places like that? That's exactly what this section is for. But before we get into that, I'd like to say that if you're interested in working with us, we'd love to help you. You can go to our website, tothetwincities.com. We have a contact form there that you can fill out in like 30 seconds or less. And if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel and, keep going down the rabbit hole, see what's going on here in the Twin Cities as you continue to, maybe plan your move. It's not uncommon that people are watching this a year or two out from when they're actually going to make the move. And when you do, we would absolutely love to be the ones to help you. I'm going to stop here real quick and take a picture back here. iPhone photography tip. You always got to zoom. 2x always looks better than 1x, as long as you can capture what you're trying to capture. So what are some of these spots that are maybe comps or, cousin neighborhoods to Stillwater? And there's actually some really, really good examples kind of all over the metro. The one thing that they have in common most of the time is that they are kind of on the outskirts of the metro, right? Because in order to have this developed of a downtown, like what is literally right down there, it kind of had to be a self-sustained, area. It had to be a small town first, but rather than being a suburb that's kind of relying on the city for some of those aspects. So you need some history, right, to have any of that. So the first place that comes to mind, and some of this is because of its kind of elevated upscale nature, is Excelsior. Excelsior is adorable. It's got a super, super cute downtown. It's right on Lake Minnetonka, again, which obviously makes it more expensive, but a lot of similar aspects to it. Beautiful topography, access to water, access to sort of outdoor activities, also really great schools, and maybe on median a bit more expensive than Stillwater, but a kind of a similar soul, I would say, overall. Then on the very southern end of the metro and really outside of the metro is a place that I really love that's called Northfield. Northfield almost feels to me like a neighborhood in somewhere in Scandinavia, right? A small town somewhere in Scandinavia. Really cute downtown. It's got similar kind of aspects, probably even politically somewhat similar to here. There's 2 universities in Northfield. There's, a food co-op, for example. The thing that you kind of give up the most in Northfield is the river, right? Is kind of just how many natural elements there are, within the city or very, very nearby the city. Northfield is a little bit more farm heavy, a little bit more kind of prairie, less bluff, less river, right? If you are looking for river and more affordable, I would recommend you take a look at Hastings. Hastings, I always think of as Stillwater's like younger brother, right? It's considerably more affordable. Schools don't rank quite as high. It's not quite as upscale feeling, but the downtown area is adorable. It's got soul. It's got some true vibe going on. Great antique stores as well. And just it's literally the same river. So you could also just take a boat down that river and you would eventually make your way to Hastings as well. Then probably geographically the closest place to Stillwater that I think is somewhat akin to it would be White Bear Lake. White Bear Lake, obviously a lake town. So White Bear Lake and Excelsior, lake towns, Stillwater and Hastings, river towns, right? But White Bear Lake, kind of similar to Hastings, a bit more affordable. White Bear Lake is a very recreational lake and it's beloved for those reasons, whether it's, fishing, just boating generally, or water skiing, wakeboarding, that kind of thing. White Bear Lake is beloved. And again, a bit more affordable. Schools don't rank quite as high, but it is even closer into the cities than what you get here in Stillwater. That was a loud van. I hope it wasn't too loud on the video. And then actually, I think a few spots that people would be surprised to hear, that a lot of the people who are looking here are also considering neighborhoods in the cities of Minneapolis or St. Paul. And so the neighborhoods that have somewhat of a kinship with the likes of Stillwater. It's kind of a reach, but you'd be surprised how many people would go for either if the right house came up. And those neighborhoods primarily are Summit Hill, Lowry Hill, and Linden Hills. Weirdly enough, all hills names, but maybe like St. Anthony Park. It's got a little bit of a villagey feel. Maybe even Nokomis in Minneapolis, just southwest Minneapolis generally, Mac Groveland, Highland Park. Basically neighborhoods that have cool historical architecture, walkable, and maybe highly ranked schools, right? So those are probably some of the best options there. And then really last comp that's probably a bit out there, but could be something worth considering if your life would allow, would be Duluth. Duluth is 2 hours to the north. It has a similar historic feel. It's obviously on Lake Superior. No shortage of water and fresh water and beautiful marinas and boats and outdoor activities. Probably the biggest drawback, the reason people don't live in Duluth probably more than anything, is kind of a lack of opportunity. There's not as many jobs up there. If you were working remote, maybe consider it. But all right, that's all I got. Reach out to us. Talk to you soon. Bye.